Right now, Bitcoin is down 0.43%. Bitcoin again has gotten a lower high and another lower high. So now you have essentially this ABC move here. I've marked it as a five-way push down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for A. ABC back up for B, and we're now possibly with one, completing one in wave C, completing 1, 2, and we're now possibly in 3. 3 could unfold here with a push back up, getting another lower high for wave 1, 2, be an extended wave 3, 3, 4, and it could even go lower here that I've marked, and you get something like that. Then you get 4, then you get 5, and this could take us on into July. And again, you've got the tax bill that's going to be, they're shooting for it to be signed into law come July 4th. You've got the extensions for the tariffs. They've been paused for 90 days, and we'll likely see on July 9th when that comes due, probably extended so that more time can be allowed for deals. Yeah, well, we're probably in the pullback. I think you're going to get a higher low. You may go as low as this level right here for the double bottom, or just beyond it is our 61-point Fibonacci retracement. Talked about some signals being triggered yesterday. Close. We did see our signals triggered yesterday. So again, I think it's more likely. And look at the 50 right here. 50 and the 200. We drop back below them. Okay. And the 50 is about to cross the 200 again. I think that will happen. And I think that we're going to see this bigger sell-off. Get a short-term rebound if we, like I said, if we get something like another lower high and then go on our way. It's a very good chance, though, that the United States is going to enter the conflict with Iran. And again, the U.S. embassy was damaged in one of their missile strikes, Iran's missile strikes. Trump told them not to mess with the United States or he would make the world rock. So is he going to act on that or just get involved to end this conflict once and for all and bring in the bunker busting bombs to remove the sites deep underground? There are about, I believe, 5 of them, if I am correct. And again, they may even eliminate the Supreme Leader and the powers that be, and we might see a rising up of the people. But this is not going to go on, but it could create more volatility. There could be concerns about a regional war, World War III. It's not going to happen. This thing's probably going to be over in a couple of weeks, maybe in days. And it's so much weaker than everybody continues to tell us. Run out of long-range missiles. They only have a few hundred left. Once they do, game over. The leadership, the military leadership's already been eliminated. The scientist is not going to go on and be a forever war. This is going to end very, very quickly. They're going to achieve their objectives very quickly. There could be volatility surrounding this, or even the Fed's all concerned about inflation still. And again, Fed being the Fed. Exactly what I told you they were going to be. Concerned about inflation. Stock video, I'll talk more about that. I want to show you again, this is what I'm expecting is going to happen. I told you we could reach that 114,000 area if we tried to rally. We didn't. We've got a lower high right here. And again, now my signals are reverting back to bearish. I told you the alternative count right here, I think is more likely. Again, wave 1 completed over here, and we're now getting this ABC for 2. And maybe it's deeper down in here. Maybe it's not as deep. We'll see what happens. But I think you're going into the 87 to 93,000 area in all likelihood. And you may backtest the double bottom right here, the double bottom pattern that we've talked so much about. CD rolled right back over, confirming another lower high. Remember I talked about selling into the rally? Remember I talked about getting a rally that sets up another lower high? But that as a rally was starting and just before the rally in my previous videos, I talked about this possibility. Told you again, wrong about reaching the 114,000 if we peaked over here and if we see my signals, which are correct, turn back to bearish, which we're now seeing, and then my alternative count comes into play. Look, I believe Bitcoin's going to pull back. I'm going to get the wave 2, and then I think it's going to go much higher. Again, we've had a 50% move. We have to digest those gains. They don't believe Bitcoin goes down. They believe it only goes up. So again, Their hopes are going to be dashed, but the whales and the institutions, the black rocks of the world, they want another bite of the apple down here to accumulate Bitcoin at lower levels. They've been accumulating it all the way up. They're accumulating it here. Sideways move, they're going to accumulate more of it down here. We are seeing some distribution, profit taking, and then here we're going to see the institutions and the black rocks and the whales reload, likely much bigger. But it's likely the correction is already underway. We're bouncing off the 50-period moving average, but like I keep saying, if you take out the support zone right here, then you have a lower high, lower low, and that's probably going to give us, by the time we do that, again, wave C is going to be well underway here. It already started, but it will, once we take out this low right here, the June low, again, we'll probably be moving in closer towards the high 87,000 to 93,000 level. Bitcoin will likely set up a higher low. Long-term bullish, but again, short-term I'm bearish. My signals are reverting back to bearish, but I just want to make a quick video and show you some of the signals. Please support the channel with the link directly below that allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like the indicators, let me know that by supporting the channel today. I thank you for your consideration for that. Bitcoin's momentum line still bearish. Again, it's going back and forth, showing we're going sideways, but this could lead to a bigger drop again towards a Fibonacci retracement, towards the 200 and the 100 period moving average if we take out the 50. And again, more sell signals today. We're getting red going on here. We're getting a red bar. Again, been going sideways. Had red, tried to flip back to green, couldn't do it. Again, chance we're going to get a bigger pullback. And again, the cloud has turned back to bearish, tried to turn back up, got a lower high, reverted right back into a bearish cloud. Got the red going on here. I have another lower high. Over here, we tried to flip it back up here and it failed, and then we ended up getting a bigger sell-off. So again, the door is open now for a bigger sell-off if signals turning back to bearish remain that way. Told you Bitcoin might have a shot at reaching this 114,000 area, this trend line right here, from these highs, possibly pointing to the next high. So warned about this trend line right here, excluding the shadows. We came up just above that trend line, above 111,000 to 112,000. We peaked. We got a bullish flag, a bull flag. We broke out, but it only gave us a lower high. Now we're struggling here at the 50-period moving average. The risk is we get a bigger sell-off right now, taking us back to test of 100 to 200 and probably dropping below them. And again, going into early July, getting a pullback and completing this inverse head and shoulders that I've marked right here. Again, well, I believe we'll pull back probably to the 87,000 to 93,000 area. Those are the key support areas that I've talked about with Fibonacci retracements, horizontal support, moving averages, probably just below these moving averages here. Once this is done and the right shoulder is complete, pattern measures around 155, 156,000. That's a minimum objective target. So I think that that is, and I've marked my chart here weekly. This is a daily chart we're looking at. We had the 13 count, tried to get the 9 count in the weekly time frame. It got canceled out. I talked about that. This count is showing price exhaustion and giving us this volatility we currently have. So this is what I think is going on, and I think it's probably going to get a bigger pullback. Bitcoin is likely peaked over here, going sideways. We probably will see a bigger pullback with Bitcoin unless the signals all revert back to bullish. There's enough of them that are saying, hey, we're going to get a bigger pullback. Last couple of videos, I told you I was looking for a lower high. We got that. And I told you in my last update that we were trying to flip the signals back to bearish. Well, by the close, they did. And that was yesterday's close on Tuesday's close. And here's today's bar. Now, the red background come back. It was gray. Warning, we could see a change in trend. And now you can see the sell signal has formed. You can see that we have the little arrow there. We're below the ribbon. What we did back over here. Now again, we saw the sell signal here, tried to rally back up and couldn't flip it over here. Got rejection at the ribbon and again, red all the way down, reaffirmed the signal here at the ribbon until right here. We turned it around and now you got the blue bars all the way up until yesterday. So again, this is likely telling us that the correction, larger correction, is now underway. It's probably going to happen. Now, again, the red is telling you you're either going sideways or you're going down. It's more likely because of the sideways move we've had right here that, again, we do get the move down because wave one is likely done. But what absolutely incredible signals. But I told you I'd let you know if the signals turn bearish. They did. I told you they were likely going to do that by the close yesterday's video, and they did. Now here we have bars turning back to red again. Blue, red, blue, red. We're going sideways, but we've lost the orange line here. You take out the purple line, you take out this low, you're going much lower. Okay, you're going to go down to probably 87,000 to 93,000 or so, somewhere in there if you lose this level of support. Right now we have a lower high and we're getting a higher high here. But if we take out the support zone, that's bearish. If you take out the resistance zone, that's bullish. So again, here seeing weakness, we could try to rebound. As I said in my last update, we got a counter trend here. We could try to get a counter trend of this lower high that's set up and still come down and get something like this, a 5-leg push lower, and end up coming down towards this level or higher in the low 90,000 area, 90 to 93,000 or so. We got the warning sign at the top here telling us that, hey, we either have a top or a pullback coming. So far, saw the pullback and we've gone sideways. We can get a bigger pullback again. So far, that turn has happened. It was correct. It marked the bottom over here, marked the tops back over here. It just tells me when momentum is about to shift and where short-term tops and bottoms could come in. Oftentimes they mark turning points. They often mark reversals. So again, I think it's getting more and more likely we're going to get a bigger pullback, but you have to take out the low right here and the purple line and then take out the low here, dropping back below 100,000. That low right there was right at that 100,000 area, the low 100,000 area. Bitcoin's likely going to move back towards the 100-period moving average and probably beyond it. If we take out our 50, right now we're down about 0.5%, testing the green line, the 50. Again, the support zone directly under that. If you take out the support zone, you take out the 50, then again, our 200 here at the 38.2 Fibonacci at 95,850. Below that's our 100-period moving average. Below that, you've got the 50% retracement at 91,350 or so, rounding up. Below that, you have the double bottom confirmation right there at around 88,500. Below that, you have the 61.8 Fibonacci of the entire advance at 87,000, just 87,050, so just above 87,000. So again, I think we're going to pull back to the 100 period, maybe the 50% retracement, maybe something deeper, maybe to the 61.8 fib or the double bottom confirmation line. But I think you're going to probably pull back, test it to the 100 period, the pink line there, and then probably drop below it, and then we'll see how deep of a retracement we get. So, but in order to have that, you got to break the support zone, and you got to be able to take out the 50. Right now, we're slightly below the 50 if we're going to get this bigger pullback. So I think you've got, the 5-leg push down right here, and I think you got an ABC here, and you're probably getting a 1 and a 2 and a 3 here. It's going to unfold, and maybe we bounce and see something like that. We don't have to, but we could. Maybe we bounce. I mean, we got a little tiny bounce there. Maybe that was it. But you get a 3, 4, and then you get a 5. And I think that comes down here to one of these Fibonacci retracements or these support levels or moving averages that I'm showing you. Again, I'm longer term bullish on Bitcoin. I believe it's going to go higher over the summer on into the fall. But I believe that, we're going to pull back, doesn't believe Bitcoin goes down. When I was calling the bottom, they were bearish and telling us that it's over for Bitcoin. Told you Bitcoin was bottoming at Bitcoin's average price here, horizontal support, 50-week moving average. The herd, extremely bearish at bottoms and extremely bullish at tops. And again, right now they're bullish. Bitcoin moved above the January high. They said it's a breakout, and we topped. And I told you we might go to 114,000 maybe, but again, my signals were warning we were going to get a pullback, and I said we could still continue, but we got the lower high. And we talked about both of those scenarios. Again, they weren't yelling a breakout when I was talking about the downward trend being broken right here. They were still like, oh, no, the bears are right. We're going to crash, and this is just a bear market rally. Bearish they weren't bullish down here when I was calling the day of the bottom. Watch my videos, you know I have several signals that did that. I was telling you we were bottoming before the rally ever started. As we were selling up, my signals, I told you 74,000 was likely going to be the bottom. I told you we might dip a little bit lower to 71, 73,000 area, right back above it. But more than likely, that 74,000 area was going to be a bottom. Major support. It's a no-brainer. It's not rocket science. They weren't bullish at all. They were very bearish here, very bearish here. They weren't bullish, I should say. They weren't bullish at these levels. They weren't bullish here with the breakout of the double bottom. Finally, when we got the rally going and we started moving towards the highs and then eventually breaking up, they got extremely bullish. Again, Bird loves buying tops and selling, panic selling at bottoms. They absolutely love it. That's why they don't last very long. Their hobby. But they're yelling, oh, it's a breakout right here. Well, why weren't they this bullish down when I was calling the bottom? When they were bearish, I was doing the opposite of the herd. Breakout of the downward trend and the breakout of the double bottom pattern here. Now, Bitcoin got above the 100 period right here. Bitcoin follows the 100 period. It's likely going to move back towards it. And I think that the larger correction has likely started, but you got to take out the support zone really to validate that. But we do have warning signs with indicators. And I bought the bottom, sold into the rally initially here, 75%, bought it back here. Thought we might go to still 114,000 to sell into the rally. We didn't. We got the lower high. I got evidence that, hey, we're going to turn. It looks like we're going to turn. Told you again, if we rallied, told you we get a lower high in all likelihood, and I was going to try to sell into the rally. I've done that. I am short. Still holding a long-term position with Bitcoin. I'm going to hold over several months. Swing trade, I closed that, and I'm short and captured most of the move higher. Recommendation to buy or sell, just telling you what I'm doing. And again, I remain short. Plus my signals all revert back to bullish. If we take out the support zone, we'll get a bigger pullback to some of these levels I'm talking about. One of these levels I'm talking about. Right here, again, we turned down. We tried to rally back up. The bar did not flip back to blue right here. Blue bars went to red, tried to flip it back to blue, went right back to red. Again, it's likely that we're going to get a bigger sell-off. Tells us we're going sideways, which means we're either going sideways or down as long as these bars are red. Same thing here. Bars going back and forth, back and forth. Again, we're likely going to get a bigger correction unless we can, again, clear the resistance zone. But right now you have a series of lower highs. A lower high here and then another one now here. That lower high and the resistance zone is probably going to hold. Even if we rally back up, you get another lower high before, again, if the wave 3 is going to unfold. It may be that we just had this already or counter trend. But again, signals are red. I remain short-term bearish, long-term bullish. I think Bitcoin will peak much later in the year at much higher levels. Warning you about a bigger pullback, and I think it's probably started unless my signals, which are correct, begin to turn back to bullish. Buys us more time, but I think it's more likely that wave 1 is now done and that we are in a wave 2 that will eventually give us a bigger pullback into 87,000 to 93,000 or somewhere as the Fibonacci's I'm showing you in this video. We're going sideways here again. Got the reversal, got the blue bars, went back to red, back to blue, now back to red, and again, notice the line. Doing the same thing. Blue, while we're trending higher, then it goes red, back to blue, back to red. This shows us we're going sideways, but now that we have red and the background's red, we can end up getting a bigger pullback as long as the signals remain bearish. So again, I've turned short-term bearish, believing we probably have completed wave 1, as I previously have said in my last 2 updates. We might make it to this trend line, but I told you that, again, we reached the trend line excluding the shadow, 112,000 area. So, again, we're likely in the pullback already. Unless my signals all begin to turn back to bullish, it's more likely they remain bearish, we get the bigger pullback. If the United States gets involved with the Israel-Iran conflict here, either today after the stock market closes, because Thursday is going to be a federal holiday, the stock market will be closed. Or if they wait until Friday and do it over the weekend after the markets close on Friday, rattle markets, it could rattle Bitcoin further. But if it does, it's going to be short-lived because this is not going to last. This conflict's going to end very, very quickly within a few weeks here, maybe even days. The U.S. is likely to get involved, whether that is before day is over today or, ahead of the holiday here or on the day of the holiday, waiting until Friday. Well, we'll see, but it's likely, it's very, very likely the United States is going to get involved, and that'll probably rattle Bitcoin, probably rattle the markets a little bit further. It's only going to present more opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin at lower levels. Again, I will, if this plays out, I'll cover my short, and then I'll be looking for a long opportunity on the pullback, trying to play those swing moves back and forth. Here we got the lower high. Here we got warning signs. Bars stopped being green, and we got the sell-off. Then they reverted back to being green. We got the lower high. Now they've got more warning sign here. Now they're back to red. So we're still going sideways here, but we may be starting a larger pullback with signals reverting back to red. And we still have mixed signals because we're going sideways. I still have some signals that are still bullish, getting warning signs that we're going to get a bigger pullback now by some of my indicators. A bearish reversal of conditions with futures. The signals turn bearish, take out these lows right here, you're going to get a bigger sell-off. And take out the 50-period moving average, which we're trying to bounce off of as I'm making the video. Signals still hanging in there. Again, we got red bars right here. And again, they're going back and forth from green to red, but the cloud is still green at the moment. Again, we start taking up the support zone, you're going to see more and more signals turn bearish, and then you'll have a lower high and a lower low. So again, I think the odds are now starting to favor that the top is already in, and that we'll probably end up getting a bigger sell-off, and that we're probably getting the wave 2. Still have mixed signals, and the reason why I do is because doing their job. My signals tell me when you're going up, down, or sideways, and right now my signals are telling us, all of them are telling us we're going sideways, and that's exactly what price is doing. When price is trending down and trending up, but they also tell me when price is going sideways. Happened at the bottom down over here. We tried to turn back to bullish, and we went and made new lows. Again, probably signaling we're going to get a larger correction. Look at the line right here. The line was blue. We were rising. We had green bars and blue line here. We had the green line for the swing move. Again, now look at the blue line. It's gone from blue to red to blue. The little circles on it there, back and forth, going more sideways. Green line moved to orange. It's a little hard to see there, but it's neutral. I've been talking about that in my last several videos. So again, I think we're going to likely go lower if we take out the 50 period in the support zone. Look at the background. It's going from green to red to green, back and forth, back and forth. Right now it's back to red after trying to turn green. So again, sideways. I think it's likely we're going to get the bigger correction now. Sideways move has gone on too long, meaning that we've likely completed wave 1 over here. Look right here. Again, tried to flip things back to bullish, called a short-term bottom here, tried to flip it back to bullish. The bars even turned green, but we got rejection there. The cloud remained red. And then right here, the signal turned right back to bearish. The bars turned bearish, and again, now we're getting this arrow showing a sell signal here. So again, price tried to flip back to bullish, and it couldn't do it. It couldn't remain that way. We got a lower high. So again, I think the odds favor we're probably going to try to get a bigger pullback. Resistance zone holds. If we clear that, here, listen carefully. If my signals turn back to bullish, then shot it going higher. But right now, I'm just telling you, we tried to turn back to bullish, and it failed with the lower high. Signals try to turn back to bullish right here, and it failed. They're now back to bearish. So again, the odds starting to increase that we're going to take out this low and this low, which is our support zone. Now here, again, tried to flip it back to bullish, back to bearish, as long as the signals are bearish. The lower high that's set up, 109,000, just under 109,000, and then the resistance zone above that, as long as we remain below the resistance zone, as long as we remain below this low right here, this second lower high that's set up, 109,000, as long as we remain below these levels, Bitcoin go lower. The path of least resistance is lower. We're at the 50 period. You got to take that level out if we're going to get the bigger sell-off. If you do, then the 200, the 100 period come into play, the Fibonacci retracements, or the back test of the breakout of the double bottom, the levels I'm talking about and have been talking about in my last several videos. Signals turning bearish. in recent days, signals in the last 2 days again, me to believe we're probably going to get the bigger correction now. Again, I continue to believe we're getting this larger inverse head and shoulders pattern. But again, right here, again, look, momentum's bearish. Right here, we're still hanging in there, but we're going sideways. So I've got mixed signals. I think we're going to get the bigger pullback now. Sideways move is taking too long. I think you're going to end up breaking the 50 period eventually. You can bounce off of it, be able to clear that resistance zone if we're going to try to go higher. But right here, hanging in there with the bullish signal, again, you start breaking these levels, breaking the support zone, then you're going to revert right back to a bearish signal. And again, the signals being mixed are telling us we're going sideways. They tell you when you're going up, they tell you when you're going down, and they tell you when you're going sideways, which is what we have right now. Now again, just doing a quick update here. Again, I'm watching to see Bitcoin futures. It's got to see a reversal of conditions. It's got a red bar, but we haven't taken out the cloud. We tried to take it out last couple of days. Haven't been able to do it. Sold off. You could still rise up and get another lower high if we are in the wave 3, as I've been talking about with the Elliott wave count. Again, going sideways, but I've had certain signals now flash telling me odds likely favor that we've peaked. Markets made a new high. Bitcoin made a lower high. They're diverging. Be in the larger correction right now. I think that's very likely. We'll get a rebound back up. You can see green bars here on the awesome oscillator. Again, try to rally back up. You got to be able to clear the resistance zone if we're going to try to continue higher. That's the peak right here and the peak over here. So again, that's where we're at right there. You got to be able to, and it's not very straight, but you can see what I'm talking about. That's the resistance zone. This is a support zone. You take it out, we're going to get a bigger drop. Right now, we're trying to bounce off the 50-period moving average with Bitcoin's price, but we could still see something like that or just go directly into the negative region if we start losing the June low right here that separates these two peaks. It's going to be more and more likely that Bitcoin peaked back on May 22nd over here. See the MACD go into negative territory, the awesome oscillator go into negative territory, you get a bigger sell-off. Eventually, I think we're pulling back 200 period moving averages, 100 period moving averages.